Yadunandana Jayo Brajajana Rajana Jayo Brajajana Jaya Yadunandana Jaya Brajajana Jaya Brajajana Jayo Braja Janarajana Yadunandana Jaya Braja Janarajana Jaya Braja Janarajana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunda Vihari Jaya Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunda Vihari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunda Vihari Yadunandana Vanachari Jaya Kunda Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Vihari Jaya 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 Vallabha Jaya Giri Madhari Jaya Giri Madhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Giri Madhari Jaya Giri Madhari Yadunandana Jai Braja Janarajana Jayo Braja Janarajana Yadunandana Jaya Braja Janarajana Jaya Braja Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunda Vihari Jaya Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunda Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava 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 Jaya All glories to the Assembled Hare Krishna. All glories to the Assembled Hare Krishna. All glories to the Assembled Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru. So today we will read from the Bhagavad Gita's 9th chapter. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So this is the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text number 26. Does anybody know that verse by heart? You do.
Pataram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaksha prayachati tat aham bhakchuparitam ashnami prayatatmanaha.
Very good. Fantastic. We just do it again. Maybe you can try and repeat actually. Patrang pushpang palang toyam.
Patrang pushpam palam toyam.
Patrang pushpang palang toyam.
Patrang pushpam palam toyam.
Yo me bhaktya prayachati.
Yo me bhaksha prayachati.
Yo me bhaktya prayachati.
Yo me bhaksha prayachati.
Tadahang bhaktyupaharatam.
Tadaham bhaktyuparitam.
Tadahang bhaktyupaharatam.
Tadaham bhaktyuparitam.
Ashnami prayatatmanaha.
Ashnami prayatatmanaha.
Ashnami prayatatmanaha.
Ashnami prayatatmanaha.
Once again. Patrang pushpang palang toyam.
Patrang pushpam palam toyam.
Yo me bhaktya prayachati.
Yo me bhaksha prayachati.
Tadahang bhaktyupaharatam.
Tadaham bhaktyuparitam.
Ashnami prayatatmanaha.
Ashnami prayatatmanaha.
Translation, and then we'll read the purport also. It is not so long, but a little long. The translation goes like this. It is Krishna speaking here, in the middle of the battlefield to his friend Arjuna. If one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, fruit or water, I will accept it. And Srila Prabhupada has given the following purport to this. You want to turn it down just a little bit. For the intelligent person, it is essential to be in Krishna consciousness, engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, in order to achieve a permanent blissful abode for eternal happiness. The process of achieving such a marvelous results is very easy and can be attempted even by the poorest of the poor without any kind of qualification. The only qualification required in this connection is to be a pure devotee of the Lord. The only qualification. It does not matter what one is or where one is situated. The process is so easy that even a leaf or a little water or fruit can be offered to the Supreme Lord in genuine love. And the Lord will be pleased to accept it. No one therefore can be barred from Krishna consciousness because it is so easy and universal. Who is such a fool that he does not want to be Krishna conscious by this simple method and thus attain the highest perfection of life, of eternity, bliss and knowledge? Krishna wants only loving service and nothing more. Krishna accepts even a little flower from his pure devotee. He does not want any kind of offering from a non-devotee. He's not in need of anything from anyone because he's self-sufficient. And yet he accepts the offering of his devotee in an exchange of love and affection. To develop Krishna consciousness is the highest perfection of life. Bhakti is mentioned twice in this verse in order to declare more emphatically that bhakti or devotional service is the only means to approach Krishna. No other condition such as becoming a brahmana, a learned scholar, a very rich man or a great philosopher can induce Krishna to accept some offering. Without the basic principle of bhakti, nothing can induce the Lord to agree to accept anything from anyone. Bhakti is never casual. No, sorry. That was not the right word. Bhakti is never causal. The process is eternal. It is direct action in service to the absolute whole. It is direct action in service to the absolute whole. Here Lord Krishna, having established that he is the only enjoyer, the primeval Lord and the real object of all sacrificial offerings, reveals what types of sacrifices he desires to be offered. If one wishes to engage in devotional service to the Supreme in order to be purified and to reach the goal of life, the transcendental loving service of God, then one should find out what the Lord desires from him. One who loves Krishna will give him whatever he wants, and he avoids offering anything which is undesirable or unasked. Thus, meat, fish and eggs should not be offered to Krishna. If he desired such things as offerings, he would have said so. Instead, he clearly requests that a leaf, fruit, flowers and water be given to him, and he says of this offering, I will accept it. Therefore, we should understand that he will not accept meat, fish or eggs. Vegetables, grains, fruits, milk and water are the proper foods for human beings and are prescribed by Lord Krishna himself. Whatever else we eat cannot be offered to him, since he will not accept it. Thus, we cannot be acting on the level of the loving devotion if we offer such foods. In the 3rd chapter, verse 13, Sri Krishna explains that only the remains of sacrifice are purified and fit for consumption by those who are seeking advancement in life and release from the flux of the material entanglement. Any of the devotees who can quote that verse?
Second.
So 3:13. Devotees only eat the remnants of yajna, so they are free from all sins. That is that verse. Yes, very good, thank you. Those who do not make an offering of their food, he says in the same verse, are eating only sin, whether or not you're a vegetarian. In other words, their every mouthful is simply deepening their involvement in the complexities of material nature. But preparing nice, simple vegetable dishes, offering them before the picture or deity of Lord Krishna, and bowing down and praying for him to accept such a humble offering, enables one to advance steadily in life, to purify the body, and to create fine brain tissues which will lead to clear thinking. Above all, the offering should be made with an attitude of love. Krishna has no need of food, since he already possesses everything that be. Yet he will accept the offering of one who desires to please him in that way. The important element in preparation, in serving and in offering, is to act with love for Krishna. The impersonalist philosophers who wish to maintain that the absolute truth is without senses cannot comprehend this verse of Bhagavad Gita. To them it is either a metaphor or proof of the mundane character of Krishna, the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita. But in actuality, Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, has senses. And it is stated that his senses are interchangeable. In other words, one sense can perform the function of any other. This is lacking senses, he could hardly be considered full in all opulences. In the 7th chapter, Krishna has explained that he impregnates the living entities into material nature. This is done by his looking upon material nature. And so, in this instance, Krishna's hearing the devotee's words of love in offering foodstuff is wholly identical with his eating and actually tasting. This point should be emphasized. Because of his absolute position, his hearing is wholly identical with his eating and tasting. Only the devotee who accepts Krishna as he describes himself without interpretation can understand that the Supreme Absolute Truth can eat food and enjoy it. Patran pushpang phalam tu yang yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupapratam ashnami prayatatmanaha. The verse again, if one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, fruit or water, I will accept it. Om Gyanati Miran Prasya Yadunandana Sharampya Chakshuranitam Yanatasma Sri Guru Yamamu Kuprotima Charam Bhakti Yirmyakvita Kipatamaham Vande Shri Ramdinatanam. So, here Krishna is speaking about love and devotion. You see, Krishna has senses, but he does not need to eat. Still he eats. Krishna does not need to do anything, yet he acts. He acts in relationship with his devotees. The devotional service means a loving interaction between the devotee and the Lord. So that means that the Lord does not have any need for our service as such. It is not like it's like a mundane master will need the service of his servants. Can you please bring my car? Please drive me to the office, or please prepare my meal. If the servant doesn't prepare the meal for the master has to starve. But in the case of devotional service to the Lord, we have to understand that Krishna has no needs. He is completely self-satisfied and self-sufficient. Swarat, said in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, is Swarat. Abhigya Swarat. So, what need does he have of our service? The need is on our side. We need to serve Krishna in order to be reinstated in our natural position as servants of the Lord. As minute spiritual sparks the size of an atom, we have no independent means of sustenance. We are completely depending on this complete whole. Just like the sun's rays, if you turn off the sun, if you could do that, quite difficult I think, but if it could be possible to turn off the sun without everybody dying, then you would find that there is no sustenance for the sun's rays. If you turn off the suns, there are no rays. So if there was no Krishna, we would not exist. Confirmed. We could not even be if there was no Krishna. Just like if there was no, let's say anything, this table, if this table did not exist, the atoms within it did also not exist. So if there's no God, there would be no us. So but there's a difference between the atoms in the table and the spiritual atoms that are parts of the Lord, in the sense that the Lord is a person with senses and a will, desire and taste, and so are we. As small little atomic reflections of the Lord, we have the same qualities and tendencies to a minute extent. So if Krishna is Swarat, and we are reflections of the Lord with minute quantities of His qualities, then the living entity can also have this desire to be Swarat, independent of any authority. Just like Krishna is not depending on any authority, He's completely free. He's His own boss. Nobody can tell Him what to do. Well, if we go deeper into the subject matter, we will find that somebody tells Krishna what to do on the deeper levels of bhakti, and Krishna enjoys it, but that's another thing. If the pure devotee tells him, now you do like this, he enjoys that. But please don't make a disturbance, As Krishna as a child, sometimes he enjoys being rebuked by his mother. Please don't go away. No. He loves being treated as a less important child, Prabhupada says at the beginning of the Bhagavatam. But that's another story. That is a deeper level of devotion. No, in actuality, from the philosophical point of view, nobody has to tell Krishna what to do. He doesn't have any boss. Of course, Radha is his boss. But really, he does not need to do that. He voluntarily accepts service from the devotees, but he is completely independent. So, back to the point. The living soul can also desire to be independent, although he is not. Just like the sun's rays. Lucky for them, they're not conscious as such, so they don't get this idea, now I want to be a planet myself. Do you imagine if the sun was like that, and then all of a sudden the sun's rays decided, okay, we're not going to do this anymore, we're going to be our own planet. How? It doesn't work. An atom cannot be a planet. It's like a spiritual soul, an atomic soul cannot be God, even though he is of the quality of God. So, the first thing we have to understand in Krishna consciousness is that we are never, at any point in time, never separate from the Lord. Never. We cannot be. Because if we were separate from the Lord, we would die. Just like if the sun was not supplying its rays with constant energy, they would just disappear and stop, and the universe would become black and cold. So, in the same sense, Krishna consciousness means to understand how we are related to the Lord. And how to understand that? The only way to understand how we are related to the Lord is to receive the gift of devotional service from a pure devotee. So all this knowledge, like the knowledge we read in this purport, for example, and Krishna's statement in how to serve him with nice foodstuffs, not to offer him meat and so what he wants, like that, is being given by somebody like Srila Prabhupada, who knows Krishna, and who was given Krishna consciousness by his spiritual master, who knew Krishna, and who was given Krishna consciousness by his spiritual master, who also knew Krishna. And in this way, devotional service is a special achievement. It is a gift that one can only get if one meets a pure devotee who tells you, yes, God is like this, he eats this, he likes this, he lives there, his name is like that, he looks like that, this is his girlfriend, this is his mother, this is his house, and he looks like this, these are his friends, this is what he does, and this is what you can do to serve him. If we don't meet a person who knows these things, how on earth could we know what Krishna wants? Being put here in darkness of ignorance just because that soul has its tendency to want to be independent like the Lord. A minute quantity of souls within existence get this silly idea of imitating the Lord. And here we are in this mature world, because we have a desire to be God ourselves. We live in this mature world, and now we, in our journey through 8,400,000 species of life, we, by great endeavor, Prabhupada says, we have achieved this human form of life. And now we have the chance to find the hospital. Not so many people in Copenhagen know the way to the hospital. They go to Kommunehospital or to Rigshospital or whatever, Bispebjerg Hospital, but they don't know that the real hospital is here. This is the hospital for curing the soul. In the other hospitals you can cure the legs, the stomach, the arms, the chest, the heart, the head. You can cure all these things. But they have nothing to do with you. This body was given to us as an imitation of the Lord. This human body is like an imitation of the Lord's body. And it can be taken in two ways. Either as, now I'm God, or I'm a reflection of God. As the Christians say, we were created in the image of God. So, according to the Vedic instruction, we are created in the image of God to remind us of our divinity. The human body has full consciousness, should have full consciousness. I'm not sure every human being on the planet Earth has human consciousness, but there is a potential in the human body to have full consciousness. And in the human body, which is given as one amongst 8,400,000 species of life, has this capacity to attain self-realization. We can understand things. We can understand reason, we can understand logic, we can understand sense, we can hear, we can remember. In the 8,300,999 other species, we cannot do that. Of course, According to the Vedic instruction, there are 400,000 human species within the universe, but only 100,000 species of those are civilized. So Srila Prabhupada took the endeavor to bring Krishna consciousness to the Western world. That means it is understood that although the Western world has become very atheistic, we have to conclude that we are counted within the 100,000 civilized human species, and we can attain Krishna consciousness. Even Prabhupada once said that why is it so easy for Americans and English and Europeans to attain Krishna consciousness? It's because they were descendants of the Aryan stock. Prabhupada says that. The Aryan stock. Because the Indians are pure Aryan stock, and we are kind of descendants of the Europeans are descendants of the Aryan stock. So for Indians it's very easy to become Krishna conscious, very natural. But for the rest of us, it's a little more struggle. It's a little more struggle because we don't have this culture in our blood. We have some kind of atheistic Christian culture that has become very strange, especially in the later years. But we have this. Prabhupada says. He says many funny things. The Americans and the Europeans proved their ability when they colonized the world. Very politically incorrect, but it's true. It shows that certain human species are more powerful, more intelligent, so they rule. It is a politically incorrect thing to say nowadays, but that's the truth. So that's, he says, it proves that these Westerners, they're actually coming from the Aryan stock. And there is, of course, the story of Parashuram driving out the Kshatriya race from India 21 times. And as the story goes, the Europeans are supposedly descendants of those Vedic Kshatriyas. They became the Vikings and the Germans and the Celts and the Latins and the Greeks, Yavanas, Malechas. Different races came from this Kshatriya movement. And here we are, descendants of the old Vedic Kshatriyas, mixed up with local tribes. Very strange mixtures. So, but still, Srila Prabhupada took the trouble to come to the West to teach us Krishna consciousness. That means we can do it. Otherwise, why would he take the trouble? And then he asked here, very humbly, who is such a fool who would not take up this Krishna consciousness process, which is so easy? You chant Hare Krishna, you read a little in the Bhagavad Gita, you offer some nice food to Krishna as he asks, that means no meat, fish or eggs, and you offer it to him with love and devotion. You chant, and you speak about Krishna from the books with each other, and you eat nice foodstuffs. What is the difficulty? What is the difficulty, really? The difficulty is, of course, that we want sense gratification. Since time immemorial, the mind has been geared towards I want sense gratification. I want this, I want that, I want food, I want sex, I want shelter, I want defense, I want art, I want music, I want a car, I want a house, I want a smartphone, and so on and so forth, and a computer. Yeah. So this we want, but we should, instead of wanting all these things, we should learn how to want Krishna. We may want so many things because our senses are accustomed to gain satisfaction from outer sources. But as we all know, all these sense gratificatory sources never really satisfy the heart. So how to gain a desire to satisfy the heart? How to gain a desire for Krishna consciousness? How to get rid of all these other desires which are like distortions to our path towards Krishna? It is coming from the process of Shravanam Kirtana. To hear